The day after the arrival of Balin, a strange atmosphere hung over Arcanum Academy. You could almost feel the tension in the air, thick and heavy like a storm cloud. Students exchanged worried glances, and even the usually cheerful magic chirp seemed strangely quiet, as if they sensed the shift in the wind. Sifu, however, was oblivious to the tension. His mind was still stuck on one thing: Balin, the legendary hero who had come to the academy. You couldn't help but feel a bit left out. All the students were buzzing about Balin, but he had other things to think about. He was trying to figure out these new powers that had suddenly awakened inside of him. Magic surged through his veins like a wild current, brimming with energy, yet so out of control. It felt like trying to hold back a tidal wave with a dam made of sand. But then his gaze fell on Sifu, who stood quietly, observing the commotion caused by Balin's arrival. Sifu looked calm and relaxed, like a boat at anchor in a still pond, untouched by the storm raging around him. There was something about Sifu that drew Sifu in like a moth to a flame. Maybe it was the way he effortlessly wielded his magic, making it seem like a part of him, or maybe it was the faint smile that played on his lips as he watched the chaos unfold. Whatever it was, Sifu found himself inexplicably drawn to the mysterious wizard. As the days passed, Sifu found himself spending more and more time around Sifu. He wanted to understand how Sifu was able to remain so calm in the face of adversity, how he could master such powerful spells with such grace. But as he watched Sifu, he began to notice small inconsistencies in his behavior, tiny cracks in the seemingly flawless facade. Sifu was always perfectly put together, his robes immaculate, his hair styled, his expression serene. He never seemed to get tired or lose his cool. No matter how challenging the situation, Sifu always seemed to have a solution, a spell to fix everything. It was as if he had a cheat sheet to life, and you couldn't help but resent it. Why did Sifu have it so easy? Why could he effortlessly cast spells that you struggled with for hours? What was Sifu's secret? One day during a training session, you finally gathered the courage to confront Sifu about it. Sifu, he began, his voice shaking slightly. You're too good. It's not fair. Sifu turned, his expression unreadable. Too good. He echoed, a hint of amusement in his voice. What do you mean? I mean, you stammered. You're too strong. You make us all look bad. Sifu's lips curved into a wider smile, his eyes twinkling. Is that so? He said. And what exactly is wrong with being strong? Nothing, Sifu admitted, but it's not fair. I try my best and still I'm not as good as you. It's like you already know what's going to happen before it even happens. Like you have all the answers. Sifu's smile faded and a serious expression took its place. Magic, he said softly, is not just about brute force. Sifu, it's about finesse, timing, understanding your opponent, and most importantly, understanding yourself. You frowned, not quite understanding what Sifu meant. What do you mean by that? Your magic is wild, Sifu continued, his gaze fixed on some point in the distance, uncontrolled, like a raging torrent. It's powerful, yes, but it's also dangerous. You can't just rely on brute force. You need to learn how to control it, how to use it effectively. But I'm trying, you protested, frustrated. I practice every day, but it's not enough. Sifu turned back to face him, his expression softening. It will take time, Sifu. Magic is not something you can master overnight. It's a journey, a path. You must walk one step at a time. But I want to be strong now. Sifu insisted. I don't want to wait. Sifu sighed, sensing the turmoil in the young wizard's heart. Very well. Then let me show you what it means to be a true mage. With that, Sifu stepped forward and a surge of magical energy erupted from him, sending a shockwave that knocked Sappy off his feet. Get up! Sifu, Sifu said, his voice echoing with power. Show me what you've learned. Show me what you can do. Sifu scrambled to his feet, his eyes wide with determination. He knew this was his chance to prove himself, to show Sifu that he was more than just a reckless beginner. He took a deep breath, focusing all his energy, and unleashed a blast of magic towards Sifu. The two spells collided in a burst of light and energy, throwing Sifu back a few steps. You couldn't believe it. He had actually managed to land a hit on Sifu. A small smile tugged at the corner of Sifu's lips. Not bad, he said, impressed. You have potential, Sifu. Raw, untamed potential. With that, Sifu charged forward. The speed was blinding. One moment he was there, the next he was right in front of Sifu. Before Sifu could react, Sifu had launched a barrage of spells, each one more powerful than the last. Sifu desperately tried to counterattack, but it was no use. Sifu's magic was too strong, too precise. He was like a whirlwind, a force of nature that Sifu couldn't hope to stop. Soon, Sifu was on the defensive, his robes torn, his hair disheveled, his face flushed with exertion. That's enough, Sifu said finally, stopping his onslaught. You've done well, Sifu. I can see the progress you've made. Despite the defeat, a strange sense of satisfaction filled Sifu. He had pushed himself to the limit and discovered depths of magical ability he never knew he possessed. He was exhausted, but there was a lightness in his step as he walked back to his dormitory that night. The rivalry with Sifu had become a driving force within him, pushing him to train harder, to practice longer, to delve deeper into the mysteries of magic. Meanwhile, Abjilu and Sadhu were starting to get worried about their friend. They had seen the intensity in his eyes when he challenged Sifu. They knew Sifu was passionate, but this was different. There was a dangerous edge to his determination that made them uneasy. He's getting carried away, Abjilu said one evening as they sat in their dormitory. Obsessed with proving himself to Sifu, he spends all his time practicing. He doesn't even have fun anymore. I know, Sadhu replied, his brow furrowed. He used to be so carefree, so full of laughter. Now, all he thinks about is magic and defeating Sifu. We have to do something, Abjilu said, his eyes determined. If we don't stop him, he'll burn himself out. He'll exhaust himself physically and magically. But how? Sadhu asked, his voice filled with frustration. He won't listen to us. If we try to talk him out of it, he'll just brush us off. Just then, Sifu entered the room, his face pale, his eyes dull. Are you all right, Sifu? Adu asked, noticing the change in his friend's demeanor. I don't feel well, Sifu replied, his voice devoid of its usual enthusiasm. I think I've pushed myself too hard. Asad and Abjilu exchanged worried glances. They knew that Sapu was in trouble. His magic was backfiring on him, causing exhaustion and illness. They had to do something to help him to bring back the friend they knew and loved. But before they could come up with a plan, a sudden commotion erupted outside. Students were screaming, pointing towards the sky, And when Sathu Abjalu and Safu rushed to the window, their blood ran cold. Hanging over the academy was a huge, swirling portal, crackling with energy. From it emerged shadowy figures, their faces hidden in the gloom. It was clear that whatever or whoever was coming through that portal was not friendly. The academy was in danger. Key points in the episode. Sap Yu challenges Sifu, setting the stage for a budding rivalry. The two wizards engaged in a fierce battle, showcasing both Sifu's mastery and SAPU's potential. Sap Yu becomes obsessed with defeating Sifu, causing concern among his friends. A mysterious portal appears, bringing danger to the academy. Seidu and Abjalu realize they must help Sap Yu before he harms himself.